Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a model that launched in 2008, and I will say without reservation, it is my favorite version of the Submariner. This is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Submariner 116619 in white gold. It was the debut of the ceramic bezel sub. It was the first series production white gold sub, and it was the debut of the super case sub all in one. Often known as the Smurf, the watch has more than enough charisma. It needs no nicknames, though I consider them to be endearing. It is 40 millimeters in diameter, 12.5 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 48 millimeters with a 51 millimeter end link to end link distance across the wrist, and it has a 20 millimeter lug spacing. Throwing the watch on my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference, you can see it has great presence. Gold Rolex watches feel like platinum from anyone else. It's just the solidity of the bracelets and the cases and the clasps. Now you can see the watch wears well. I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. I'm actually going to close the clasp here. And I would say that you could wear this as a woman if your wrist is more oval than round. It sits low, remarkably low for a 300-meter automatic diver, and part of that's down to Rolex's use of solid case backs, which are thinner than sapphires. You can see it's low enough that it will fit underneath dress cuffs, so this white gold Rolex can also be your dress timepiece. Let's take a quick look at the clasp, the bracelet, and a quick note about Rolex Gold. Rolex uses gray gold, which is 18 karat white gold. It's white all the way through. It doesn't need to be rhodium plated, doesn't need to be palladium plated or flashed in a platinum family metal to make it look white. It's white all the way through. Rolex makes this alloy at its foundry. It makes its bracelets, its cases, its clasps. And one of the advantages to this alloy is that if it gets scratched, it doesn't show another color underneath. Now, Rolex uses its Oyster bracelet here. We have a conforming link to better integrate the bracelet into the case. A little bit of a taper. You can see that the outer flanks are polished, the center links are polished, the shoulder links are satinated, removable links are fixed by screws, and that on both sides. But on the sub, you get something that standard Rolex watches generally don't, and that is GlideLock. Now, this is a system that moves in 2 millimeter increments, 10 of them. You get up to 20 millimeters of incremental adjustability, and you can lock it in place, so you can use it for fine-tuning the size, or you can pull it out over a dry suit, a wetsuit, any kind of dive suit, or even thick winter clothing. If you want to wear the watch over your jacket as you operate a snowblower, you can do that. The clasp also features a beacon to hook system. You can see that there's a spring-loaded lift lock that latches. That's actually enough to keep it closed, but it is double locking. There's a little curve to dig your nail in so you can open up the clamshell. You can see that the bracelet is double finished. The clasp is double finished, both satin and polish. And you can see the same is true of the watch. This is the super case. You can see just how squared off those lugs are and how sheer the case flank is. But you can sort of see the break from satin to polish is handsome. And the watch has a crown guard structure around a Triplock crown in gold. You know it's a Triplock crown in gold because the flanking dots are small. The center dot is large. There's 3 of them, Triplock in gold. 300-meter water resistance. The watch includes a wonderfully refined and satisfying 120 click bezel. Really, a bezel can make or break a dive watch. The way it feels and sounds, Rolex aced this. Now, you can also see that the knurling is alternating between satin and polish, so no detail is overlooked, and the knurling is also very sharp, so it's easy to grip with wet, sweaty, or gloved hands. The bezel insert is blue ceramic, and then the characters, that is the numerals and the indices, that's a very shallow platinum fill, so over time, these little symbols will not fade, oxidize, tarnish, or change color. The ceramic is extremely scratch resistant. Rolex overlooks nothing. Even the bezel pearl, the lumed bezel pearl, has a little sapphire cap over it, so it can't easily be scratched out. Taking a look at the watch in the dark, you can see this G-series watch, circa 2010, has Rolex's Chromalight blue lume. You can also see all 3 hands are lumed, which is very important on a dive watch, so you can see even in the dark that it's still operating. Now, the dial is a lovely and lustrous blue gloss, which gives it a wonderful depth and almost the impression that it's wet paint. The hands, as well as the indices are all white gold for the same reason platinum is used inside the bezel. Just it will not change, it will not react to moisture or discolor over time. The case back's solid, and what sits inside is Rolex manufactured caliber 3135. Bidirectional automatic winding. It has a 48-hour power reserve. It has both stop seconds and a quick set date. It pivots on 31 joules. It beats at 8 beats per second. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, and Rolex makes it anti-magnetic with a blue oxidized niobium zirconium hairspring they call Parachrom Blue that makes it anti-magnetic, and it is an overcoil hairspring shaped by hand, which means in pretty much any position the watch is going to keep consistent time, something that's hard to achieve with a flat hairspring. That's why Rolex uses an overcoil hairspring that is, by the way, shaped by hand. And the watch uses a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance to make it more shock tolerant. Shock tolerance, water tolerance, and anti-magnetic qualities, all in a wonderful rock star of a watch. Smurf, or by any other name, this sub is my favorite. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.